So first, let's clarify the terms, right? AI is a very it's a concept, basically. It's not an actual system. It's a concept that gathers a whole broad range of different systems and tools. Machine learning is very good at linking data and the corresponding task, right? A rule of thumb is the more complicated your problem is, the more complex you need your system to be. Traditional non-machine learning system, let's call them like that, they can solve problem up to a specific level of difficulty of complexity, and after this, then machine learning is required, and also deep learning, which is a subcategory of machine learning, right? So that's for the general part. Now, coming back to our specific problem here, our problematic of detecting disinformation is complex because there's no direct link, very simple link between the news, the information itself, and the fact that it is a disinformation or not. You need to rely on a lot of stuff like the context, the interpretation, the semantic knowledge of who is being mentioned, what place is being mentioned, what they mean. So it's very complex to understand the content of a news and link it to the fact that it is disinformation or not. That's why we need systems like machine learning and deep learning to solve that. So there's two main challenges that we face in this project. The first one is the problem of the context understanding, right? If you think as how we process information, us as humans, and how do we detect fake news and disinformation and these kind of stuff, it's mainly, not all of course, but mainly based on contextual information. So if you read somebody's name, a famous person that did something, but in your head you know this person shouldn't have done or couldn't have done this kind of thing, or it's too obviously wrong to be true, you would tag this in your mind as a disinformation. But this would have come because you have prior knowledge of what this name means of this person, what's this person's position in society, etc., and what this action is and what it represents, right? So you have a broad knowledge of context that you apply to this sentence to detect the amount of disinformation in it, right? And that means detecting context is very important to detect disinformation. But context understanding is one of the big challenges of AI nowadays, right? And machine learning specifically. So we are trying to contribute to that by trying to structure the information and add contextual information to it as much as possible. And for this, we use technologies called knowledge graphs, where each news will be represented as a point, a node, and it will be linked to other nodes, other points, so other news, using specific characteristics that we would have defined that make sense in this case. For example, the topics mentioned, the sentiment behind each topic, the source of the information, these kind of stuff. By structuring the data like this, we will be able to teach context to our models, our systems, hopefully in an efficient way that does not require tens and 20, 30 years of knowledge gathering that adults would have had in order to understand, to apply to apply context knowledge to a sentence, right? So that's the first challenge. The second one is the different types of data that we have to process, basically. So not only for fake news, there's text, but you can also have data like images, videos, audio, so speech basically. And Sometimes they are linked, so you would have an image and a caption under it trying to describe with very specific and triggering words, and sometimes the image was taken from somewhere and the text was just added to it without having any link with it, right? So the challenge here, and it's also a challenge in the current state of the art, is first to be able to automatically understand the link between the different types of modalities, and second, trying to extract information from the different modalities. So for example, describing the content of an image or a video. These are complex tasks that we're trying to solve by building on top of prior projects that exist. So we're gonna go from current state-of-the-art methods like contrastive learning, in which you teach a system to minimize or maximize the amount of information between two types of data, text and, if for example text and image should have similar information, the model will learn that. If they shouldn't have, it will learn that as well. By learning this, we hope to be able to tackle such problematics. It's a strategic decision from us that most, if not all, our project will be put as open as possible, because we are convinced that by doing this, we will have, by getting people involved, other communities involved and ourselves into our project, will speed up the development and the improvement of the systems we have. That's the first reason. The second one is it ensures the continuation of the project after our funding ends, right? Because if we're able to build communities that are interested and that get actually involved in our projects during our years of funding, then we have a good chance that these continue afterwards and continue improving based on the resources we would have provided and they would have helped, of course, producing. It's true that UMONS in general and our lab specifically focus on applied machine learning, and for AI for Debunk, we try to contribute as much as possible to the machine learning related tasks. Of course, the project has a big machine learning component, but it's not the only component. There's a lot of other different things that are very important for the success of the project. And we contribute just to the, along with other colleagues, of course, to the machine learning related packages. And there's two main objectives for them. One is to be able to extract information from different types of data, and the information will be used in different other modules like the knowledge graph and other kinds of modules. And the second one is to be able to estimate accurate disinformation score from the incoming news that we would receive, whether it's text, images, both, right, audio, different types of modalities. And we are very proud of leading several of these work packages and collaborating with several other partners in this project with the same goal, basically.